Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23 Newton Heath, and we are on episode 41. Last time we ended with a request to upgrade the youth facilities. This would put them on par with the senior facilities, and it's been accepted. It's going to cost $750,000. The start date will be 2 months from now, with completion by March. One notable thing is that it does mention that it would move us up a youth level. So it would allow us to move up a youth level. I like that idea. That's definitely a step in the right direction. And is that the youth level that's been a problem for us? Or is it the other? Because there's basically two youth levels: youth recruitment and your overall youth level. And one of those is quite good. The other one is still bare minimum. Non-negotiable offer in for Tunnicliffe, and they actually want us to contribute $16,000 in his salary while barely giving us more than that in return. So really all they're doing is getting him off the books for us with a really modest fee of just a little bit, but at $74,000 a year, I suppose getting him off the books is better than nothing. So we'll accept. Second road game of the season at Gillingham, and Gillingham have had a rough start. 3 matches, just 3 points so far. Let's see if we can continue that effort to keep them in a rough start, though. Pratt into the lineup as we are down 2 midfielders right now. Smallwood sent off with the double yellow last time out. Sarcevic still hurt. Palmer still hurt. Tanner picked up a minor injury, but he is just fine. He'll be fine to play. He's cleared to play all 90. Unable to grab a goal, but we have at least kept our undefeated start to the season. 2 road draws, 2 home wins. We're about to get the Papa John's paint trophy off and started. This is the Premier League's U21s, their reserves competitive competition, meaningful competition. It's only been a handful of years since this started up, and a lot of people aren't terribly familiar with it. But it's a chance for the up-and-comers from the highest level to get meaningful games against proper sides. And there are certain restrictions in place that you do have to an extent, field a competitive team to be part of this. And it brings in down to League 2, you end up with a fair shake of kind of teams. 4-team group, and you go through this group phase. We're not expected to do particularly well in it. And our first opponent is Bolton, who right now are 21st in League 1, so they are towards the bottom end at the moment. They, over the last few years, you can see that they won League 1 in the 23-24 season, and then they ended up getting straight relegated from the championship, finishing 22nd, and then last season finished 12th. And off to a bad start in this season. So this is a team that has been in decline over the last 2+ seasons. Let's see if that's something that can pay off for us. By the way, just for comparison's sake, you can see they're about a star ahead of us in youth facilities, and their reputation, good 2 stars up on us. We're down to the last 15 hours in the transfer window. I am partaking, though I don't think we're likely to find anything. Just a couple of days ago, I did put an offer in for a substantial quality player, defensive mid, 32 years of age. That would have been an upgrade from all of the guys that we have. He's a lot like Smallwood, but better. Came close to terms, but he's looking for $1 million. He's looking for big gains. He wanted to be a coach and had no coach attributes. Almost not quite worked something out with him, but it didn't come together. As much as we have money, that doesn't mean we're gonna go Manchester City or Chelsea and just throw the book at them. I still want to keep things reasonable on our deals, especially when they're in their 30s already. I'd much rather be signing guys in their prime or in their 20s that have upside instead of are at that stage where it's already downside. Well, one of those young players that we've brought in that we don't necessarily need to get signed on right now. He's more of a long-term project, close to first team ready. And it looks like we're going to probably let him go to South Shields on loan for the season. Option to recall him, of course, if we have injuries or if he's showing enough progress to get himself into the side. First month in the league, and we finished third in the Coach of the Month award. There's Phil Parkinson, now with AFC Wimbledon. The first news item when we started our deadline day event 3 hours ago came up with somebody we hadn't seen. He wasn't on our radar at all, but he was linked to us. I barely had anything scouting wise, but I said, hey, why don't you come on trial? And 3 hours later, he's with the club. So he's 30 years old. He's Nigerian. He's had 10 caps with Nigeria. We went from having no CA, PA, anything. I mean, we had nothing on the scouting report other than a few attributes. But you can see tackling-wise, he's at least an 11. Pace-wise, he may not be terribly quick. Acceleration-wise, but pace is at least 11, 15. Heading is good. Passing could be a hit and miss. Crossing doesn't look great, so it's hard to tell just how good this guy would be. But now that he's on trial, we at least have some sort of comparison, and it appears, anyway, that he's at least a full star better than Daniel Pike, and Daniel Pike has become possibly our weakest starter. So this could be a pretty healthy advantage. Now, of course, the trial came about because the guy he's on a free, and it looks like he was playing in the US, which, even though I'm US based, that doesn't mean anything. I don't follow MLS barely at all. I vaguely know what's going on with my hometown Timbers. I have season tickets to the Thorns, the NWSL team, but I do not follow it's just brutal murder ball instead of actually playing the sport. But anyway, looks like he was signed with Inter Miami. It was only there. It was a trial, so he was there for a month and a half. They waived him. Cincinnati picked him up, waived him a few weeks later. No, actually, that was signed on a free transfer. So he spent last year with Cincinnati, didn't get an appearance for either of them. Now for us, League Two versus that's a good trade-off. I mean, MLS-wise, it's probably League One-ish equivalent, but he didn't get in, which means he's more like League Two equivalent, and that seems to make sense on what we're seeing in the scouting report. Let me break it down a little bit further and see what this guy is all about. He's definitely played with some teams, though. I mean, he's got some history with clubs at fairly high levels. Big time injury risk, though, if we were to sign this guy. So if anything, I'd be looking at a 1-year deal and go, hey, if he's healthy, he can contribute. If he's not, we still have Pike. For those scenarios, I'm more inclined to actually sign somebody. You have the depth behind them. You don't worry about them having to be your everyday guy. But with a recurring injury and lots of time missed, I would probably want to put some sort of injury release clause if he picks up a major injury, which is actually what I was trying to negotiate with the other guy that I was talking about a couple minutes ago, that we nearly signed. I had an injury release clause in for him. From the assistant manager, or from one of the assistant coaches anyway, fairly sporting attitude, enjoys big matches. That's always a good one. Fairly consistent. Strength and stamina make him decent. Good player from most League Two sides, and that's helpful as we really don't have that. Pike works well within a team. Natural at a couple of positions, left back or right back, so that's useful for us. Unlikely to improve. You get that at 30. Fairly susceptible to injuries. We've now found out about that. And like I said, we want the injury release clause. But with Pike, with Donasian behind him, I'm less concerned short term about having somebody like this as a holdover until next year when we can find longer term deals with players. Right now, we're struggling to find anything better, and it's deadline day. This guy coming in, I mean, there's good to be had from signing him. Anyway, fairly poor in the air. For a fullback, that's typical, and tendency not to get stuck into rough challenges can put his teammates under some pressure. That's not a bad thing. He doesn't want to get stuck in on tough challenges, meaning he wants to keep his feet, which means he's not going to get himself sent off when he makes the mistake. There's good and bad with that, but I'd say that's not exactly a negative the way they're painting it. We don't want guys getting sent off needlessly. We're in a level where giving up a goal occasionally isn't bad. Going down to 10 men is going to have a much worse impact. So with ADO Den Haag, he started his career, got quite a few appearances there in the Eredivisie. So the Dutch league, top level, not top team, but that's a good sign that as a young player coming up, he got a decent amount of time before moving to Portugal to Benfica. But they stuck him down with Benfica B after training with Benfica in the first year. And with Benfica B, he barely played. Then went on loan the next season back over to FC20 in the Eredivisie for 33 appearances. So you can see he's steadily getting better over time, contributing bigger club and even more appearances that couple years later. Venezia in Serie A with Empoli, so a small Serie A side. But hey, I mean, come on, we're talking about a Big Five league player, really? That's not bad. He wasn't great, but he's playing at a high level. I think that could be a pretty decent pickup for us. That surprises me, though, that if he got to the end of that contract and they release him, fine, I get it. He was just good enough and then he wasn't good enough. That makes sense. I mean, we're talking about Big Five. But then going to the MLS and not getting any appearances is a little concerning. I think it's a risky move. But here's the thing. We're a club with cash. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to try. Now, we've got 12 hours. Push forward a couple hours. We might get a little demasking and a little closer on what his attributes look like over the next couple of hours. We got plenty of time. In fact, I could wait at least 4 hours to even start talking with this guy. And I'm glad I've waited, because in the next couple of hours we are picking up attraction from agents, and they seem to recognize that right back is a weakness for us, as we are getting some agent offers coming out. Totally fine paying for somebody. Let's see what we have. We'll see if he signs here over the next 10 hours, but there has been one player presented to us by a number of agents that we've gone ahead and given an offer to. It was a position I didn't necessarily need, but couldn't pass up on. Karel Redden, available from Stoke. He only got one appearance with them, 13 with Carlisle after initially coming up with Aston Villa, but he's right there with Amiobi, and he is technically better than the others, the Palabais, the Tanners. He's a stronger player than they are, stronger attacking player than they are. He'll recover the ball slightly better than they will. He's not good with headers. Jumping reach is only a 3. He's only 5'7". He's pretty much my height and can't jump. I have my height, but I can jump. I get up a lot higher than I should be able to get, but as short as I am, unless I'm going up against somebody who's only a little bit taller, I'll still eventually get out jumped by people, because if I'm 9 inches shorter and I can jump 6 inches, if I have a 6-inch better vertical, I still lose out by 3 inches. And that's what I see a lot of. Tunnicliffe deal is going through, so Jordan Tunnicliffe is heading out. That, along with Tozer. Tozer is still technically on the coaching staff. He's now on month to month, as I did not re-sign him. I've looked for replacements. There are slightly better at the moment, but not significantly better. So I, for now, am just kind of sitting on it. I'll wait a little bit, see if our reputation takes a little jump, and that we can then find a more significant upgrade. But Tozer, at least, already out as a player now. Tunnicliffe as well. And our Wrexham ties are just about gone because Ollie Palmer is also very much one foot out the door now as well. I'm not going to wait significantly longer. I don't want to wait till the last minute and then have it not go through, but at least according to the assistant manager, Ebuehi is a slam dunk. He's a significant upgrade for us. Now, of course, they said the same about Amiobi and then quickly found that he wasn't that good. He wasn't that big of an upgrade. But he's still an upgrade. He was still a substantial grab. I've tended to try to stay away from guys in their 30s, but he's only just 30, and I think he's going to still have at least a couple good years left in him, and it's not going to hurt us that bad. With that exception, of course, that this is somebody who has injury history, so we got to be careful on that signing. But a couple more hours, see if maybe we just get an ounce of attribute, realization, just something to point us in the direction, or the assistant manager to adjust their view on him more. And within 1 hour, Redden has agreed to sign with us. So he's cleared, no immediate concerns, clean bill of health, so we will sign him. So out of nowhere, we have managed to get at least one signing in here on deadline day. With 9 hours to go, it looks like we might be headed for a second. We've got one outgoing player already. Will there be additional there as well? We still got 7 hours, but for now, there is no updates on Ebuehi. But of course, we want to avoid the injury part. I think he would be a good signing otherwise, and according to the assistant manager, right, is a solid pickup for us. So let's see if he'll accept regular starter. He does, so that's already a good start for us. He's going to be looking for a big salary. That's definitely a new one for us, but we have the finances, and I'm not so worried about it. Looks like we're locked in on it's going to be just the 1 year deal, but that's kind of what I'm looking for anyway. I would like to add in the injury release clause, see where that gets us. Also drop him down a little bit on that salary. Okay, so he's dropped the clause, didn't raise the salary that much. I think we're going to be good. Yep, he'll accept that one. So he's going to become the highest paid player at the club, but if my staff are correct, he's going to be the biggest addition. And what we've seen in the past is those singular additions are usually the ones that start opening the floodgates a little bit on bringing bigger, better talent coming in. Now, does this have anything to do with the good start through the first handful of matches in the league this year? Does that attract more interest? Is it because it's transfer deadline day and more people are desperate? He wants a move before it's too late. He wants to play this season, knows and understands that this is his final day. He's only got a few hours to go, so he's more willing to, step up or step down and accept a deal when he's not getting something already. I would venture to say it's more along those lines. I think it might be that deadline day pressure getting to him. And for me, $350,000, yes, that makes him our most expensive player, but he's on a 10-month deal, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If he takes a major injury, we've got the injury release clause in there anyway, so we can drop him and stop paying him. And for us, the finances aren't an issue anyway. Awesome news. Ebuehi has been granted a work permit and has accepted the deal. So we are getting Ebuehi. We'll soon find out just how good he actually is, or whether the assistant has him a bit overrated. But I think even if he is a bit overrated, he should still be a useful player for us and should still be an upgrade from Pike. And if he's undervalued, then he's fantastic, and we fight to hang on to him for a couple of years. Already he's getting bumped down to 3.5, but like I said, 3.5 is still putting him amongst our best 5 players or so, and therefore, as long as he can stay healthy, would be worth it. And if he doesn't stay healthy, we cut him. 3 hours till the deadline, and we have a match. We have a late evening match, and it's that Papa John's trophy. Looking at the rules, because I did say there were some rules. I believe there were some rules, and there are. $17,000 fine for not adhering to the rules, and here are the match rules. The squad must include a minimum of 4 players that started the previous league match or the following league match. Player is also classified as a qualifying outfield player if they meet one of the following criteria: top 10 players in the team for most appearances, 40 or more first team appearances in their career, on loan from either Premier League or Category 1 Academy club. So all it takes is 4. It really doesn't take a lot, but we could very much mix our team together if we wanted. I definitely don't want anybody with a high load, which currently Pratt is the only one with a high load. So Pratt's going to get out of that lineup. Abuehi is available and on light, so we might want to get Abuehi out there. And that, goes from medium to light. Ashby Hammond, get him a chance to start. So there you go on. There's a couple guys in rotation. We want to get Alfie Doi out there and maybe give Wilson a day off. Donasian out on international duty, so he's not going to get in the side. We've also got Redden available. We might want to try to get him into the side. We're going to try a new one, putting Shaq forward as the attacking midfielder, which is where he had started with us, by the way. And Aboa also in the match. Just see how they fare together. I think that's the lineup we're going to go with for now. That's still a pretty competitive lineup. We'll see how they perform. Big task with this Papa John's trophy of having a higher tier opponent. But again, it's an opponent that's struggling. And while I did plenty of squad rotation for this, it's still, for us, a fairly competitive group, especially because I've got 2 new faces that just signed with us in the last hour or two, and that we've brought straight onto the pitch. And they're good players. So, curious to see how we perform in this one, how competitive Bolton's team might be. Either way, I don't care too much about the result, but we go very, very close. That's a goal kick. That was not offside. That was a well-timed run. They tried to offside trap and didn't step up in time. Ola with the long ball over the top. Redden! Oh, man, he almost picked up his first assist with Aboa getting in there. Aboa takes a touch before trying to put it in the back of the net, and the keeper looked like the keeper pounced on it before we got that ball off. Nice interception there. Collier. Powell. Ola. Nice little pullback, lays it off for Ford, and Ford puts it in the back of the net. He scores goals for fun. And that was a fun goal. We haven't even played 8 minutes yet. Collier finds Ola. Ola lays it off again for Collier. Smallwood over the top for Ola. And that's out for the corner kick. Got Ola on the left today. Back in his normal starting spot. Been able to get him inside a couple times already. From an everyday guy to being a squad guy. Let's hope he stays happy. But that definitely adds, right? If we have 4 top positions, I've got 2 strikers now in regular rotation. I've got now 5 attacking mids and or wingers. So I've got 7 guys to rotate 4 positions now. As the flag goes up for that, so it was offside. It was off for close. I thought he might have been on there, but anyway, Ashby Hammond had it covered in. Regardless, Ola gets in behind the D and makes it 2. It was off a free kick, was it not? Yes, Powell takes that free kick, sends it over the top, and Ola just outruns his man. But it's feeling like they are playing a weaker side here than we are, that they, squad rotation-wise, went even deeper. And they're a team struggling in the division ahead of us. Right now, we're a team doing well 1 division below. That could mean we're fairly on par with each other, and if they're not putting in a terribly competitive side, even though we ourselves, didn't go all out for this squad. It's still a good squad that I put out there. I mean, you got the drop-off with Ashby Hammond, but that's not much of a drop-off, as Oliver Wright used to be a major drop-off. But we've got three of our back four, so 3 out of 4 regular starters, and Doi, is the top backup. We've got our starting defensive mids, because our third one wasn't available, and I didn't want to go to our fourth one. And then we've got our regular rotation guys on top. Even if all 4 positions were swapped out, they're still regular rotation guys. We didn't go crazy low down the depth chart or anything. And this competitive team was definitely competitive in the first half with a 2-goal lead. Now we are allowed 5 substitutions, but only 3 instances of this. We'll keep an eye out. Hopefully the AI does not just randomly sub one guy on 3 different times and hurt us, as Ola has picked up a yellow. Might need an early sub. Redden. Oof. Apparently that was a nice clean tackle. Over the top for Aboa. He's going to get a second chance after it's blocked. Lays it off for Ford. Nice pass there. Good vision to find Ford on that one. And Ford takes a good shot at it, but keeper. Decent stop. Didn't have a great angle. That one's given away, but we recover immediately. Collier finds Smallwood. Smallwood over the top for Aboa, and he's going to get there first. Laid it off again for Ford. And those two feel dangerous together, unlike what we had with Ollie Palmer before. 2 guys of a similar profile. Getting them on the pitch together a little more often might be our interest. Tanner's a good enough player, but it's not great. And I feel like Ford is more dangerous in that position than Tanner is. And Aboa, he's done well. He's done well. And seems to not miss a beat. So linking those 2 together from time to time might be something I'm going to experiment with a bit more often. But like I said, I've got a rotation of 7 guys for 4 positions, so keeping them fresh shouldn't be too difficult. 1 hour played. No subs made. Let's go ahead and make a double sub here. I think I'm going to give MEOB the day off entirely. I've got a good amount of quality subs behind these guys. We're going to get Tanner on. Let's go ahead and get the fatigued Collier off for Whitehall. And Muir also a bit tired. Bring on Wilson. We'll split the minutes between those guys. 3 subs. We'll have 2 subs remaining, 2 instances to sub remaining. Powell, oof, not a good ball, but Ola makes a nice play to get back and retreat to that. Aboa definitely got a piece there, but the man came on. They're also making a double substitution themselves, and my substitution didn't happen, and they end up scoring. Disallowed. Flag up. I didn't see what was wrong with any of that. Were they offside? Was it a foul? What did he raise that flag for? Presumably it was offside, but our substitution has occurred. We've got about 10 minutes to play, holding on to that 2-goal lead. Very different second half. They've been much more in the game here, but we've still been largely in control. They only had 3 shots. We've had 17, just 5 in the second half. That long ball goes nowhere. Not sure what this is about. Doi, Powell, Whitehall. Doi with the long, Powell with the long ball, and Aboa grabbed in the box. And it's a penalty. Tanner's going to step up to take it, and slots it just past the keeper, who guessed correctly, but could not stop that shot. And that's going to seal the deal. If it was not already sealed anyway, it's 3-0. 3-0. Ford has some fatigue. I don't really have... got Brooks. We'll get Brooks in there. Ready. Tanner's going to get on the end of this. But retreats out of box. Whitehall, nice little cut inside. Didn't have any pullback options, so he takes the shot without the angle. Pretty easy stop. Time should be all but up here. And that does it. Final whistle, 3-0. Great win against Bolton. But again, we don't know the quality of the side that they put in there, but we played well regardless. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Next episode, we're going to start making some more rapid progress into the season, and with just a couple hours to go till the transfer deadline, that's going to do it for the deals. There's no more deals coming up. There was nobody else on the radar. We're not going to do anything in the last couple of hours. So that's going to do it for the roster. Both new faces, Abuehi and Redden, played decently well in their debuts. And with extra time, I'm sure they'll fit in a bit easier. But Ford did really well in that attacking mid along with Aboa, even though Aboa didn't score goals, so his own rating wasn't fantastic. But I think he played a lot better than he got credit for, as he was the one setting up Ford, laying the ball off for Ford on those regular occasions that Ford was just excelling. Ola had a really good day as well. Whitehall didn't do anything in his short appearance off the bench, but overall the team had an excellent match. Doi, 8.2 rating for him as well. Powell with the assist and another good day, and he's really starting to fit into the squad. So I think we've got a few guys comfortable in the side now. I'm going to want to start rotating a little bit, at least one other new face here soon. But it's still early in the year. Plenty of time to make that happen. That's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.